Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. I gotta say thanks to all of you that are watching on a regular basis. I get such positive feedback on the channel. It's just very heartfelt. I appreciate it very much. And without the support that I get from you guys, I probably wouldn't continue doing the channel. But because the feedback is so positive, I know that there are people out there watching these videos and they're learning and they feel good about their fishing, and that's what this is all about. I just want to help people catch more fish, and this is a sport that I love. If I can get other people to love it too and to catch some fish, it just makes me feel good. So guys, I appreciate it all. If you enjoy my videos, just hit the like button. That's all I ask, because that is what really gets us to the next level, and it helps with the YouTube algorithm. So that's all I ask. If you watch the videos and you enjoy it, hit that like button. So today's topic is going to be about one of my absolute favorite baits. Not just the bait, but the style of bait. And it's a stick worm. I think we've all come to realize that a stick worm, is one of the most popular baits out there because they catch fish. So the one that I like is just the Max Scent Berkeley, the General. The 5-inch is my go-to, but I do use the 4, I use the 6. The Cinco, the Yamamoto Cinco's out there. You've got, there's just like Strike King's got an Ocho. Every company out there, I feel like, has a stick bait at this point. And it's because that profile, for whatever reason, catches fish. This is just like, it's a do-nothing bait. There is really nothing exciting about this. If I were to go to a tackle shop and I knew nothing about fishing, this would be like the last bait that I would buy. If you showed me all the different crazy, plastics, all the stuff that I've got hanging on the wall over here, I would not buy this. But there is not one of us out there that's watching this that does not use these and say they are productive baits. But the thing is, I really feel like a lot of people don't realize how versatile a stick bait is. I think most people would say, you know what? I wacky rig it. I throw it, I just put wacky rig it, however you like to rig your wacky rig, whether it's with bands or, however. The point is you wacky rig it. You throw a weightless wacky rig. This bait on the fall just kind of shakes and vibrates, and fish will swim from 20 feet away to eat it. It is one of the best baits out there, the best techniques out there for catching fish. It's a technique that the pros use. It's a technique that beginners should use. A weightless wacky rig stick bait is a phenomenal bait. We all know that. But there's a lot of other things you can do with a stick worm that a lot of people don't realize. One I just showed you, this is one of my absolute favorite baits for fishing ledges on the TVA lakes. I love to throw a purple Max Scent, the General, on a big oversized shaky head. That to me, dragging this around on ledges that have been beaten up by people who are fishing it with traditional ledge baits, whether it's a crankbait, big worms, football head jigs, it seems like I can always throw this out there and catch a couple of fish. It's just so non-invasive compared to some of those other big baits that people are throwing on ledges. Giant spoons, big hair jigs. It doesn't matter. This is just something that's like, the fish just can't resist it. And you throw it in this purple color and it's like, it's candy to the fish. So I love to have, a shaky head rigged with one, whether it's a big one for fishing ledges or whether I'm just going down the bank. Either way, a shaky head is a great way to rig it. You're not talking about getting much action out of it, but the fish like that. The next up, another pretty basic technique is just a drop shot. A drop shot is nothing special, but the key to a drop shot is you got to recognize that this basically allows you to fish a weightless wacky rig at a deeper level. So once your bait goes down to the bottom, if you give slack to your line, you're going to get that same shimmy as the bait falls down to your weight. It's not necessarily just a bait where you throw it out and keep tight line on it and just shake it. You're really it's to your advantage to give the bait some slack and allow it to shimmy back down to deeper levels. So I love fishing it on a drop shot as well. Smallmouth, love the 4-inch size. It's just another great bait. You know, the last pretty obvious way that I like to fish it is just on a Texas rig. I like to throw it without a pegged weight. I just like to have that freedom. This is kind of like down in Florida, an absolute must. You gotta have a lightly weighted Texas rig to flip around some pad stems and for spawning fish into the holes. The fish just seem to eat this better than they do most other baits. And I'm not gonna say other baits aren't better at times, but it seems like, you know, your basic stickworm, whatever one that you like, seems to produce on a consistent basis. So there may be days other baits are better, but day in and day out, a stickworm seems to produce the most consistently. So anytime you're fishing around the spawn period, you should have, in my opinion, a lightly weighted Texas rigged stickworm. And I like to leave this unpegged so that when the bait falls, you still get a little bit of that shimmy as the bait tries to meet up with the weight. The last two ways that I like to utilize the stickworm is a little bit different. The first, and this is something I've learned down in Florida, a lot of tournaments are getting won doing this, especially in the summer months. People are using a heavy weight and like a punch rig with a stickworm to go around and punch heavy vegetation. So whether it's your hyacinth mats, or whether they're flipping into big bull rushes or buggy whips as they call them down there, it just seems to generate big bites. So they're punching with a big weight, they're punching with their stickworm. So it's not pegged right now. I would have that pegged if I were fishing, but it's a big profile, does a really good job of representing a bluegill, which is what a lot of times the guys down in Florida are doing. But I have utilized this throughout the country now and done really well. Up here in the North Country, this is one of my go-tos when I'm punching milfoil. It's something different. The fish don't see it, and it punches really well because it's so streamlined. So once the weight goes through, your bait's going through as well. You don't have any appendages that are holding it up. So it's a very effective bait to punch. Really, really good. I highly recommend that. The last way is something that you don't hear many people talk about. I have had a few subscribers over the last year that have mentioned this, and it's something that I've been doing for a while and I've experimented a lot with, and I've had really good success. And that's to use it as a chatterbait trailer. You know, it's got that slim profile that I like anytime I'm using a chatterbait because it doesn't create any drag or resistance in the water. So when this bait is going back and forth, you'll reel it in and that tail is just like, I mean, it's just buzzing coming back. And it creates no drag, so you can keep the bait down deeper. When you snap it, you get a real erratic action out of it because the tail's not doing anything to break it up. It's just darting with the bait. I've caught a lot of fish using it as a trailer. I personally like the 4-inch size. I think it matches up well. But if I am fishing a body of water that's got bigger fish in it, I'll go with the 5-inch size. But I do like the 4-inch. I think it works. I think it pairs up better with a chatterbait. So guys, give it a try on your chatterbaits. It's something that's different. So those are the ways that I utilize a stickworm. It's a bait that you should have in your boat or in your tackle box at all times because of the versatility of it. It is such a great lure. It looks so dumb, but it works so good. That's the part that always seems to amaze me. If you can't get bit, it's always a great bait to pick up. So guys, utilize these. Go to work, catch some fish with them. If you have other ways that you like to use a stickworm, throw it in the comment section so that the rest of the viewers can learn different ways to utilize it. I'm sure there's lots more out there. I'm sure I'm missing some things, so I'd like to learn from you guys as well. So I hope it was helpful. If it was, hit that like button. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video.